So, okay, let me share this screen and so you will have some slides to see. Okay. So before I even jump to that, what attracted me to this book was the title below the book is Selling or Sell the Art, the Science and the Witchcraft. So I also got confused because when I started my selling career, or even before starting my selling career, I could hear people telling so many things about selling. Oh, selling is difficult. It's a target-oriented game. It is not for the people who are introverts. You need to talk a lot. You need to do this. You need to do that. And they made a fear, like a conjuring movie, a horror movie. And even the best of the people who may have excelled in selling didn't go. So this book basically is what is all it about. It simplifies selling through stories. So let me jump straight to the text of it. So there are 30 slides. Of course, I'm not going to go it across everything. The book is written by a gentleman called Subroto Bagchi. Subroto Bagchi started his career, one of his in IBM, and then he moved to Wipro. In Wipro, he grew to a senior management level. Then he, with some of his colleagues, broke away from Wipro and started an organization called Mindtree. Later on, Mindtree in 1999 was employing close to 20,000 employees. Over a period of time, it was taken over by L&T. So that's a little brief of Subroto Bagchi. Subroto Bagchi, by introduction itself, he says, I'm a salesman. I'm a sales consultant. So this is what his introduction about. He has written many books, and I think most of the books we have reviewed in the club, including The Professional, The Elephant Catcher, and this is the third book that we are going to review of Subroto Bagchi, The Sell. I think he's one of the very rare authors that we reviewed so many books. The books have around 244 pages, and something very special I wanted to share. When I ordered this book, I got this letter. Of course, this letter was not for me. It is by the senior CEO of the Axis branch to the branch heads. So, if Axis Bank is a branch, is a bank in India, and he has written this, and actually he wanted to give this books, I think, to all his branch managers. So one of the book came to me, maybe it was stuck in. So from there, I could really understand the importance of the book, why it is so special. So it even raised my curiosity. I read this book in a matter of a week. It is so beautiful. So, what is this book all about? Before I jump in, let me tell you the second one. This is how the book opens. Look at me. Listen to me. Buy my words. Even before you buy my wares. Let's agree on the terms of transaction. Now, tell everyone about me and come back for me. So this is what in a poem format is Subroto Bagchi compiling what is selling. So it's like a poem. I just divided into a slide so that you could understand. What he says is this three words. Selling is a three-legged stool. One leg is a science, one leg is an art, and one leg is a witchcraft. And he's dividing that. So I have 30 slides. I have divided everything across. I'll try to get all it across as much as possible. So the first thing is panning for gold. So Subroto Bagchi, in the start of this chapter, tells about his own story, how he started into the sales. And this is the story that he's telling in 1981. He was selling computers. 1981 in India, selling computers. You can imagine how easy it would have been. So he used to tell in that thing that prospecting is very important. So what do you mean by prospecting? Prospecting, you know, the word in marriages, also in arranged marriages, is a word called prospect. That means a person who has the ability or he has a need to buy the particular thing is a prospect, basically. He has the ability and also he has a need. So it's very important in sales that you prospect people, and the process is called qualification. You qualify them, whether they can buy or they cannot buy. So he starts with the whole process about prospecting and his own story. So the story goes like this. He is around New Delhi. He's not into the New Delhi, but satellite towns of New Delhi, where he's supposed to sell computers. So for him, in order to identify if somebody is not capable, I would say somebody needs computer, he or she is the right prospect. They need to have an air conditioning, A. B, there need to be two cars parked outside their house or office rather, office. If these two qualities are met, criteria is met, I can jump in and sell the computers, because in those days, computers used to cost a lot. IBM used to sell the computers. So this is the way he started prospecting. And later on, he tells a story about how the prospecting changed when he came to New Delhi. Most of the people were having this. So it was very difficult to prospect in New Delhi selling computers because most of the people had ACs and most of the people had two cars also in 1980s. So he has to change his strategy. So he's discussing about strategy of prospecting in the first chapter in his story. The best part about the book is it's all about stories. In the first chapter, he's told a story about himself, and later on, throughout his career in Wipro and Mindtree, who are the best salespeople that he met, and he picked out those golden nuggets from them, and he has embedded it into the book. One big thing he tells in this chapter is keep the spirit alive. One point of time, he tells one story in the same chapter. There is a place called GB Road in Delhi. It is known for prostitution. So he thought that, okay, why not give it a try? Maybe somewhere at the end of the GB Road, there might be an office which me needed. And he ended up going to a place into a very small lane where some women were conducting a particular ritual or a puja. In that puja, only those who were participating should be there. Unfortunately, he was not aware. He took his bike and he entered the lane, and those women charged up towards him, running towards him, about to beat him, and he somehow escaped out from there. So he tells that moment that you don't know really how hard you're pushing because you don't know what is going to. So sometimes you have this kind of moments also where people, you're not in the right place, but don't give up. That is why he said, keep the spirit alive. Never hesitate. Be bold. Never take rejection too hard. I think it's part not just in sales, but in life also. We take rejection personally. People may reject your offer, people may reject your product, but they're not rejecting you. Unfortunately, we in human psychology take rejection personally. We think people are rejecting us. It is not like that. This is what he's telling. And then he's mentioning about two great people whose photos are there, Juan Sang and Columbus. I'm sure you people know what Columbus did. He discovered America. And Yuan Sang is a person who came from China to India discovering the Silk Route. And after that, history has changed. So he said, be inspired. These are the people who discovered this thing. They were also salespeople only. They were trying to find something new. So pan for gold. That's the first chapter. The second chapter is fishing in the right pond, he's telling. So this chapter, I'll just brief you a little bit. I won't go into the detail because it's too much in detail. So fishing in the right pond means you have to find the right spot, as you rightly said, what you want to do. So in that, he's telling about an NGO story where his friend wanted to have an NGO and they wanted to get funds for the NGO. They were writing emails to the possible people who could donate. Unfortunately, nobody was replying. They were thinking that if we send email, people will read and they will send checks. It never happened. For that, he suggests we have to segment. If you want to sell to somebody, first of all, segment them. Then you determine who is a suspect, who is a prospect. Suspect is somebody who you think will buy, but they won't buy. You remove them. Focus on the prospect. And at the end of the day, what is more important is the funnel. So if you have seen a funnel, it will have, it's very wide on the top and it narrows down. So in sales also, your funneling, you should have maximum prospect. Depending on your ratio, like 5 times, 10 times, 25 or 30 prospects. Finally, out of the 25, one may convert. So you should have your funnel wide. So think about it. It is not about one prospect. You should have 30, 40, 50, 60 prospect. From there, one will convert. So this is what he's telling here. This is beautiful. This is a story which is the key to the entire book, I would say, the salmon's journey. So here he's talking about a salmon called coho salmon. So coho salmon, or rather any salmon, it's a very beautiful journey. These salmon are spawn, or we can say they are born in fresh waters. And once they become adult or they slightly become fingerlings, we can say, they travel all the way to ocean. They grow up in the ocean, and finally, when they are mature enough that they can reproduce, they again come back to the same place where they are born, into the waters. Now, while the female gives the eggs, there are 2,250 eggs. Unfortunately, out of that, by the time 5 salmons only will reach the ocean, and out of those 5, only 2 will come back possibly to mate, or to in the end to spawn again, which is the aim of this salmon's journey. So coming back, so he's selling for a salmon to spawn. The chances is 1 to 50 is to 1. Although it is 2 to 50, I don't know why he wrote 1 to 50. It may be a printing error, I don't know. But he has written 1 to 50 is to 1 is the chance. So he's comparing that with your prospecting. You have to understand your industry and see what is the ratio of prospecting. Ideally, it is 25:1. So your job is not tough like Salman. If Salman can come back from 1 to 50, also still 1 is the chance. Yours is 25:1. So if 25 people come as a prospect, 1 might convert. So this is what he's explaining. And then you widen your net across. So this is a story of Salman's journey, Coho Salman, which is a standout story, little different in the book rather than other sales conversation. So that's the Salman's journey, and it's connected to widening your funnel and have more prospects in your net. Now this is funny. Tel tambaku tera, desh tamasha mera. I hope most of the people would understand who is this character. It is from Hera Fairy. It's Paresh Rawal, right? And it's one of the comic movies that I love, so I put it there. Tel tambaku tera, dekh tamasha mera means give me oil, give me tobacco, that is yours, and then I will perform. So people should have money. There are a lot of people who will be time wasters when they come for selling. You don't need to waste your time on them. Try to understand that. Because unless until people have money or they have a need, you're wasting your time. That process is called qualification. Qualifying the prospect is the most important thing to your success. And most of the time, most of the salespeople make mistake here. We do not qualify the leads or the prospects. That's why he's dividing that into 4 people, 4 people who will never buy. Great giver of homework. So if you enter a particular company, you might come across a person who gives a lot of homework. You know, when you talk to them, they will say, I'm interested in that, I'm interested in this. So if you take case of my industry, I'm into cybersecurity. They will say they're interested in antivirus, they're interested in firewall, they're interested in MDR, XDR, everything. And they want all the information. So they're basically telling you to do all the homework. But at the end of the day, if you ask them whether they give the order, they will say, oh, nothing is in my hand, it is in the up management. Time wasters. So you have to understand that they are not the right people. Then patron center of thought leadership. Now, these are the people who could be the chief executive, the chief information security officer, the chief marketing officer, but they are not. So they have all the time in the world. They welcome you. They will give you the cards 10 times. They will give you tea, coffee. They will talk to you. They will tell you everything. You will feel the sale is closed. But finally, they will say, oh, I'm still not there. There is somebody else I need to ask. You didn't qualify the prospect. You didn't understand the process itself, how the procurement happens. Wrong question. Permanent prospect. One prospect which you think he will buy definitely. From January till December, you know that he will buy. But he never buys. He's an eternal prospect. He's always there on your list. But for some reason, he's not buying. Don't waste your time. The finally for this poor Brahmin. Nothing against caste. This is what is in the book. What he's telling is poor Brahmin is a category of people where you are selling a product worth 5 lakh. He has a budget of 50,000. But yet he wants to buy. How is it possible? You want to sell at 5 lakh, but he has 50,000. But he says, you know what? Don't worry. I have a fantastic idea. I have a product. Let's work on it together. And you go and sell it to the market. So his unachieved dreams for 23 years, he wants you to achieve it. But that is not the point. You're not there to do that. So very important to understand here, who are the right people for you. Tel tambaku tera, dekh tamasha mera. So that is what it means. That's why the photo of Hera Fairy is Paresh Rawal, to make you understand that. Next one, what are the questions you will ask? So this is a quick way. If you enter some place and you want to know what are the questions, these are the questions. Who is the person? What is his real story? Is he the right guy? How did he get there? Is he competent? Is he recommended a buyer? Who is he? Is a subject matter expert, an influencer? Who is he? Is he self-appointed or is he anointed? Somebody put him there or he himself is proclaiming. A lot of people will say, I am this, I am that. Don't waste your time. So these are the qualifying questions you need to ask to yourself, not to them, of course. What is the GQ? Very important. So here is telling a story about a person called Venkat. Here onwards, the story starts. So he's visiting somewhere, and Venkat is a person who has worked with him earlier in the Mindtree. So some of the tips, I'm not going to explain you what the conversation is. The tips, what he gave in the conversation is always dress up, don't dress down, which meant always be ready for your sales call. Dressed up means it can be in any way you can take. Dressing, shoes, anything, everything, always be ready. You never know if you're going to meet the prospect. Second one, a prospect is also prospecting hard. Now, see, in this world of social media and Google, we are thinking that it's only we are prospecting about, or we are finding information about your prospect. No, even the prospects are finding information about you. How are you? How is your company? Is the product really trustworthy? So even before they meet you, they know about you. So that's what he's saying. What is your GQ? GQ means Google quotient. So if somebody types the name of Abhishek Kokate, what is going to come up? What have you contributed? Are you a thought leader? Have you said something? Were you part of anything, something? People want to buy from people who are special. I've written that people do not like to buy from someone who is not special. People want to buy only from people who are special. That is what it meant. How can you show your speciality? By being a thought leader, by contributing information so that anybody look up your name on Google. What crops up is your name, whatever you have done, people will buy from you. That is your GQ, Google quotient. Next thing, if you are ever going to a breakfast meeting, please have breakfast before that and go. A breakfast meeting does not mean that you have to have breakfast there. Because if you're going to have breakfast there, who is going to talk? So in this, when Venkat comes to me, he tells he's not eating. So Subroto asked him, why are you not eating? He said, I already had breakfast in the morning. I had idlis and cake. He said, but this is a breakfast meeting. He said, that is what? It is breakfast eating, but I have already had the breakfast because if I'm going to eat now, where am I going to focus on the conversation? So breakfast meeting does not mean you have to have breakfast there. Same is lunch and same is the dinner. And people buy from people. That is what the last, even after so many years, whatever we say, people still buy from people. Salesperson or consultant. Anybody remember this movie? I'm not sure how many of you have seen. It's a very good movie. Rocket Singh Salesman of the Year. So here there is a gentleman called in this story called Scott Staples, and he is having conversation. Again, he also worked with the Mindtree. That's why he's bringing this story. So Scott Staples has worked a lot of jobs before he became the consultant, sales consultant. He was also working as a window cleaner. He mentioned something very specific to Subroto Bagchi in this conversation. He said, the job of window cleaner is not easy. If he makes a mistake, it is so visible to the entire planet. Because the speck of dust on a clean window is visible. Your work should be so impeccable. So it's not an easy job. So he takes that very seriously, and this is what he takes. He says that finding a deal is not easy. Although we say prospecting is easy, no. Finding a deal means most of the time people will say, hey, this account has nothing, they don't have money, they don't have need. A clever, intelligent salesperson will find it out, will prospect it further, will toss it around. That is why he says those who do that walk on water. They literally walk on water. Those salespeople who are finding opportunities which were never even existing. This is a process, he says. The golden hour, he says, if you're a smart salesperson, the golden hour is before 9 a.m. and after 7 p.m. Most of the time we forget that. Most of the salespeople will call in 9 to 7. Wrong. If you want to reach out to a certain person, they will be available either before 9 because the work time has not started, or after 7 because nobody is going to call them at 7. So if you want to have somebody's attention, you want to give a call or you want to send an email after 7, although it may sound not professional, but it works. Also on the weekends, you might want to drop an email because it will get read, but never on a Monday. Whoever sends email on Monday never gets read because it is going to go down. So these are the tips that he's giving to the salespeople. Qualifying with very important question. You have to ask questions. So he's saying that if a seasoned salesperson is not a salesperson, he's a consultant. That is what he's telling. Consultant, why? Because a consultant understands a problem, gives a solution, and brings the people together. This is the job of salespeople now. It is no more sales, it is consulting. So whoever is having that consultative approach will become the best of the best. And they won't write sales, they will write consultant. So if next time when you read the word consultant, you know what it means. King of trade shows, Vikram. So here he is telling about, see, in sales, trade shows are very important. Everybody, you are also breathing in the travel industry, you know what trade shows happen every now and then. And many of the people attend. Every industry has a trade show. But there is this guy called Vikram in Mindtree who is called King. That's why I put the photo of Sachin Tendulkar next to him, because that is what he epitomizes in the book. So he says Vikram is very smart. He attends almost 25 road trade show in a year around the world. Now, this is his strategy, he says. He chooses the trade shows very carefully, which he wants to attend, which he don't want to attend. He removes it. Next step, he sees who are the sponsors in the trade show and he writes an email to them. He connects with them. He contacts them even before the trade show has started. He sees who are the exhibitors. He sees who are the speakers. And he connects with them and fixes the meeting even before he has arrived to the trade show. And when he arrives, he has meetings with all these people. And he has done this in advance. And more important thing, he will keep 1 or 2 days after the trade show. He'll stay there only. Because most of the meetings may happen after the trade show is over. And most of the people leaves the trade show the very same night. And they miss the opportunity. So if you are smart like Vikram, if you want to be the king of trade show, you want to stay there for a day or two to have meetings with these people. The next formula that he tells is trust is equal to familiarity into expertise divided by risk. So he's saying expertise, what you sell your product, whatever you sell is your expertise. Familiarity is going to distinguish between you and the other company. And familiarity develops when you take interest in other people's company. So for example, if I'm going to meet a company, like say I'm a Toastmasters, I'm going to meet, then I need to know who is the president, what is the recent event happened. Is somebody spoke on YouTube or there was some event, I need to know about them. The more familiar I am to the prospect, the more chance of me winning the deal. So if you see the formula, familiarity times expertise divided by risk. That is the trust. This is what the formula he gave. Be weird. Now this is another person called Bill Eggleston. He's having conversation with him and he says, be weird. That's why you've seen I put Ranveer Singh. Now Ranveer Singh is a kind of person, according to me, is very weird. He dresses in the most weirdest fashion ever. And you can see what he's wearing. But world needs weird people. If you're weird for some reason, use it. Use it to the fullest. Because when you're going to be weird, you're going to be remembered. That is what he said. Be who you are. Be authentic. This is the thing that he told in the conversation. Weird means doing things what you do usually, but in sales, you might hesitate to do it. Like, for example, this is how I am. If I come out as a loud, this is my personality. If suddenly I go into the sales and I said, hello, sir, I'm Abhishek, and good morning, good evening, good night. I'm not myself. I'm not authentic. That is not me. My meanness comes from me being loud. That is how I am. This is what he meant by being weird, just to put it in context. Need to know the name of the dog. You need to know the name of the dog means you need to know everything about them. So in this scenario, Subroto was not knowing the name of the dog of Bill. At the end of the chapter, he finds out and he tells these are the names of the dog, which means you have to take that much of interest in other people. If you really want to be a selling or you really want to sell something, or you want to be a consultant. Finally, this is a thing that I'm skipping because shortage of time. So before you make a deal, there are this many people are there in the deal which you want to go through. You need to map all of them: vendor selection committee, buyer, external expert, so on and so forth. I'll drop this presentation if you need. I'll send it to you. Negotiation. Now, negotiation is very main task in sales. Whenever you quote, they are going to ask for a better price and then the better price. So what Subroto Bagchi is saying, negotiation is a dance. You push, they pull. They pull, you push. And it's a gracious dance until you arrive at a dance step. That's why I put a Greek god in front of you, Hrithik Roshan. I wouldn't have thought of anybody better than Hrithik when it comes to dance. So treat, and there are certain steps that he has told, which I don't want to go into the detail, but most important I felt is have your face. Once negotiation is done, take charge of the delivering, complete package. Bring customer into solutioning process, not selling, solutioning. Think about the customer's risk. What risk they are facing? Because if customer is going to do for somebody, think about them. What would you do? Present a human face. Very, 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 very important. I cannot tell you how many very I would add. Because if you call a bank, most of the time it is diverting you to a robot and you have to dial 1 and then 9 and 8 before you end up speaking to a customer care executive. It takes 4 to 5 minutes. There is no human face. If you really want to sell or solution, you need to show a human face at every step. Who is going to take care of me? Who is going to be there? Who is going to be a point of contact? This is Abhishek. This is Hrithik Roshan example. Make it visual. People love visuals. They want to see what's going to happen. He's saying today with AR, VR technology, we can do that. If it is allowed in your scope or in your domain, please do it. Kabir ji, how much time we have? Almost done.
5 minutes into the question answer.
Okay, so I'll just run across a couple of more slides because we're running short of time. So there is something called, when he meets one of his employee who is not motivated, he tells the story of Starbucks. And one of the beautiful, I think I also love this philosophy of Starbucks, where they say every day we go to work hoping to do two things: share a great coffee with our friends and to make a world a little better place. You see, in this statement, Starbucks have not used customer, client, friends, making a world a better place. This is what it sells. We do not, that's why Starbucks is not just a coffee shop. You cannot call them just a coffee shop. There's something extraordinary. So this is what he mentions in that book of Starbucks philosophy. You should be proud of what you're selling. If you're not proud, don't sell it. So here he mentions about an incident in where he goes to a Marriott hotel. He orders a food at a bar, and that food comes instantaneously, and he starts doubting whether it is fresh or not. And he goes and asks the bartender, and the bartender gets very offended, and he gives him a total 15-minute lecture on Marriott values. And then he realizes his mistake, and he says, he learns one thing is that if you're not proud of selling something, please don't sell it. Or first you love it and then you sell it. That's why you see Munna Bhai MBBS photo I have put, because he's been so proud of becoming a doctor, which he doesn't become at the end. Don't presume anything, ask. This is very important. That's why if you've seen the movie Munna Bhai MBBS, in that Sanjay Dutt asked this question deliberately, although it is a very odd question. Please ask who is going to pay. Get supremely comfortable in asking. If you don't ask, you won't get. Never get fear of rejection. Oh, what will happen if I ask? The customer might feel bad and they might cut the order. Don't worry about that. If you don't ask, there are going to be a big mess. Don't assume anything. So that is why I put, and there is a story behind it why he said so. Salespeople are not welcomed anywhere. Please, nobody is going to put a red carpet and welcome you. So no does not mean never. It means not now, maybe later. So please don't take rejections to your heart. Make sure that your marketing team is working with you in sync. This is what he has said. So if you're going to target a particular client, make sure marketing team is also having a marketing campaign targeting that customer. Then alone you're going to be successful. That's why Dhoni's photo I have kept, because he's so precise in his strategy. So embedded marketing. Content is a new weapon. If you can create content, and if you can be there on social media, you will sell like hotcake. This is what he has written. Today, content is a new weapon. So if you are on the internet, you know how to engage, you will sell. Jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai. That's why I've written Aila Jadoo, because that is what he has also written in this book. Content is the new weapon. Then PowerPoint presentations, do's and don'ts being explained here, which is most probably all of us know, but it is being told. Most importantly, if you're referring about somebody, some report, please give due credit to that person, to that survey. For example, today's all these photos I've taken from Google. This is the credit I should give. If you're in the meeting, please tell them how much time it is going to take. Please always keep 10 minutes for Q&A, which I'm not giving today because I'm running short of time. But this is what he has told. Legal angle. Please read your agreements very carefully. And whenever you're going to send an agreement, don't do any copy paste. Most of the salespeople are accused of copy pasting from the internet. In this one particular scenario, a company loses $1 million of contract because they simply copy pasted from the internet. And the clients found out and they canceled the contract. Never lie to customer. If you're doing it, tell them, or be genuine. That's why they have written the legal angle. False misrepresentation has caused HP and EDS. So HP and EDS, there was a case and they paid billions of dollars for false misrepresentation. Persuasion, not convincing. So this is a big debate he's telling between him and his daughter in this particular conversation. Our job is to persuade, not to convince. There's a big difference he's telling. So that is what he's mentioned in this topic, which it's very much there in the slides. I can drop you that. Closing is very more important. Please follow these steps in closing is what he has given. Most importantly, never rush in closing. Most of the salespeople rush when it comes to closing because they have fear of rejection. Never rush. Have a checklist. Make sure that the body language of the client is clear. Are there any signs of discomfort? Is the client relaxed? Is he happy? If it is done, congratulations, you got the order. If the client is showing any sign of fidgetiness, discomfort, don't run. Ask them, why is that? How you can help. That is why if you can see here, these photos are there, it just shows what it is, the body language. Finally, reassurance is the key. Once you get the order, you have to tell people personally, ho jayega. I'll be there personally. Authenticity is short in supply. People are not authentic these days. So please tell that you will be there and be there. If you lose, be a gracious loser. Don't complain. Don't blame others. It takes a lot of grace to lose. Most of the time, he's telling selling is all about winning, is what we think. But selling is also about losing. Because if you know how to lose gracefully, you will be remembered and you will win many more sales. अगले साल फिर से try करना. I know you can see that in Super 30. So this is another story. Finally, the last slide. Thank people. Thank people who made this possible, because by yourself, you cannot win any deal. There will be internal people who help you to get that, and there'll be external people who made it possible. Right? He's specifically mentioning a hand note on a handmade paper with your own handwriting. How much good it is looking, right? Give out film tickets to your internal people who helped, a family night out, a restaurant voucher, or email to their managers, making sure that you thank them. So this was about my book, The Cell. Not sure how many of you could take a grip of it, but of course there was a lot of content. One thing that I felt could have done a little better was if there would have been a kind of exercise at the end of the every chapter, which will allow us to kind of contemplate how we can use it in our day-to-day life.